everybody, it's Matt from the house, and in this video we're going to show you how to put your skateboard together. Let's check this out. All right, you just got your first skateboard. You got your deck, your wheels, your hardware, your trucks, your bearings. You're ready to go, but it looks like this. We need to get this thing into working order, and it's pretty easy to put together. There's different methods that you can use to, get your board put together. This is how I like to do it, just how it makes sense, but there's definitely some stuff that you should and shouldn't do when you're putting your board together. So right off the bat, I like to actually work, some people like to take the trucks and put it on the board first. I like to actually do that last. I like to get the wheels and the bearings and everything ready to go, just because it's a little quicker, and it's easier when you're actually putting your trucks on to actually have the wheels and stuff on. So right off the bat, we're gonna grab the trucks. We're gonna go ahead and take the axle nuts off, and we're gonna take one of the washers off. We're gonna leave that other washer on there. There's actually, we'll leave a link in the description below, and it's a little bit about talking about bearings and also spacers and why you should use them. And you don't have to use them, but it's a good reason to actually have those. So we'll leave that link in the description so you can watch that video. But again, if you have the spacers with your bearings, throw them in there, and also with the washers on your trucks, usually they'll come with that. So one washer on the inside, and then I like to go basically bearing, and then washer, and then I throw another bearing on, but I put the bearings, so some of the bearings too, they're actually sealed on the outside, but not on the inside. So when I put my trucks together this way, I will actually put them so both of them are unsealed or up, and there's a good reason for this. You're actually gonna use your truck to put your wheels on. So you're basically get those things all set up. Again, bearing seal or unsealed up, spacer, and then another bearing unsealed up. So whatever part of your wheel, some wheels have graphics on the outside and on the inside, some of them only on one side. So again, one thing to think about me, I don't really care, but whatever you want on the outside, you're gonna actually put that down first. So we're gonna go ahead and use the truck, and we're gonna push the bearing into the wheel. Then we're gonna flip the wheel over, and now we've got the spacer and the bearing all ready to go. Boom, and it's in and ready for a washer and ready for a nut. And again, you can do those one at a time. This is the way that I found, works the best and works the fastest, especially when you're working in a shop and you got to put together, 20 skateboards a day. This is definitely the quickest way to do it as well. So we're gonna go ahead and get both of those in there. Oops, I just lost the spacer. But we got, again, you want to make sure that you got a washer on one of those little thin washers on the inside and the outside. So big thing here, when you're tightening up your wheels, you'll spin it to the point where it doesn't really move too much. And then depending on, how the spacers work in there and if they sit right, basically you might tighten that down and your wheel might not move. So the trick is tighten it down to the point where the wheel doesn't spin very freely, and then back it off just a tiny little bit. And we're not even talking like 1/8 of a turn, just a little bit. You basically want that nut to be as tight as possible where the wheel spins freely. This way your wheel isn't shaking around and putting unnecessary stress on your bearings too, and it'll actually make your bearings last longer. So we go ahead and got that truck put together, and now Scott's gonna fast forward while I get the other one put together. Boom, all right, we are ready to go now. We got our trucks ready to go with our bearings and wheels. Everything is spinning nice and free on its own, so that way we're gonna get a good roll out of it. Our bearings are gonna last us a long time. Now we gotta get the trucks on the board. So right off the bat, you got your board all gripped up. We'll leave a link in the description if you don't know how to grip your board. If it's not gripped, sometimes boards come gripped, sometimes they don't. It just depends. But go ahead and check that video out if you need to know how to grip your board. And then from there, we're gonna go ahead and put the hardware through. So on this board, I happen to know that this big black area in the front, that's actually the nose. And I actually like to run silver hardware in the front of my board and the black hardware in the back, just so I can tell what the front and the back is. Obviously, this isn't something that you absolutely have to do. I'm using 7/8 inch hardware just because I'm not going to use any risers or anything. If you do need risers, you're gonna need longer hardware too, depending. If you got any questions about that, again, check the description and we'll leave a link to our riser video as well. But again, go ahead and get all your screws put in through the top of the board and push them all down. And then you'll notice that basically the hardware doesn't sit flush with the board. We're gonna go ahead and take care of that in just a second. But as long as you got it pushed down most of the way, then you are good to go. So with trucks, there is no front truck or back truck. One thing though, if you are getting a new board and you're swapping them over, a lot of times when you're turning, you will turn a little different on your front truck than back truck. And some people like to keep that exactly the same. So if you do take your trucks apart and you're going to your next board, make sure to remember what is your front truck and what is your back truck. Could be important. Maybe it's not. That's 100% up to you. So, but while holding on the front of the board, holding all the screws, we're just gonna obviously get the truck set on there. And then from there, we're gonna take the nuts and we're just gonna go ahead and get them all started and start these, you know, with your fingers. They will go on easily. And just make sure that, you know, they're on just as far as you can actually spin it with your fingers, to make sure that you're not going to get any cross threading going on when you go ahead to tighten everything down. And then once you've got all of those ready to go, you can take your handy dandy skate tool, and this has a screwdriver on it, and you know, for Allen head or for Phillips head, and then obviously it has all the other tools that you need. But we're basically going to go ahead and tighten this up. So a lot of times with the screw head too, spin the back, don't spin the front, just because one, you get a little more leverage on that skate tool from the back, and you're basically gonna tighten that up until it's nice and snug and until that bolt is actually pulled in and it's nice and flush with the top of your board. And you also want to check on the bottom and make sure that on the bottom that the bolt is hitting that little nylon inside the nut, just to make sure that it's not going to come loose on you. So once you go ahead and get that all nice and snug and everything looks good, now you're going to go ahead and tighten the rest down. And I like to do an X pattern, so start here and then actually go across. Don't go straight up or straight across, go kind of on that diagonal to that next bolt, and go ahead and tighten that one up. So, and just for time's sake, I'm gonna cheat and go to one of these things. If you don't use a drill a lot, I don't recommend it. You can actually pull the screws into the board if you tighten it too much, but I am a trained professional. Don't try this at home. But we're gonna go ahead and get these all in here nice and tight now. All right, and onto the front truck, and we're gonna do the exact same thing. Get the nut started. All right, we'll get these all tightened down. All right, make sure to put your tool back in your tool so you don't lose that if you've got a skate tool. And boom, your board is all ready to ride. Now you can put stickers on it. If you want to mark up the grip tape a little bit so you can tell what the nose is from the tail, if you don't have that multicolored hardware, you can do that. But essentially your board is ready to ride. Any other adjustments that you might need to make are going to be in the truck itself, and you basically just have to put it down on the ground, stand on it, see how loose it feels. If it feels too loose, tighten up that nut. If it feels like it's too tight, loosen it up. And we've got a video about how to adjust your trucks too, and we'll leave that description, or leave that link in the description down below too. So once you've got that set, you're ready to ride. All right, well, thanks for checking out our video on how to set up a skateboard. Like I said, it's a pretty easy process, and the more you do it, the faster you get at it and the easier it gets. Again, as long as you've got, the proper tools, and again, you don't have to have a skate tool. It's a nice thing to have. Every single one of these tools you have in your toolbox at home. But again, nice thing to have because all your tools are right there. And if you need to make those micro adjustments, while you're out skating, this is all you have to have on you, not 5 other different tools. Oh man, almost forgot. When you do put your skateboard together and you're putting your trucks on, make sure that the kingpin, this nut right here, make sure those are both on the inside. You do not want one on the outside, one on the inside. You do not want both on the outside. Your board will not work properly. So again, once you get those things set, make sure once you're gonna get your truck set, make sure that those nuts are both on the inside of the board. But yeah, if you got any questions, leave some comments down below. We're on there every single day trying to answer your questions. We want to make sure we get you, into some of the rad gear, but we want to also make sure that you're being able to get it set up right so you can use it properly. So also let us know if you got any questions about any of the skateboards, trucks, wheels, bearings, any of the components too. Like, subscribe, get that bell on too so you can find out when all the new videos drop. And yeah, grab yourself your components, get your board put together, and get out and ride. Because any day of riding, it's a good day of riding.